together. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat. Nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhakta bhavati nashtaki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatade Shatarine. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gautase Namaha. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Mustate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Go Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone once again for today morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. I will have to share my screen as I myself don't have my book today with me. You need to start finally. All right. So today we're going to start our discussion from 3rd Canto, 22nd chapter, titled as The Marriage of Kadma Muni and Devhuti, and some very, very profound and interesting purports will begin to come from now onwards. Of course, whatever Prabhupada has written is incredible, no doubt about it. What I meant to say is from here onwards, we'll get to learn a lot about Vedic culture and Vedic psychology. One of the subject matter in this particular chapter will be discussed. So how is the flow of the chapter? What is this chapter talks about? Let me give you a little brief about it. So as we know, in the previous chapter, Swayambhuva Manu, along with his good wife Shatarupa and daughter Devhuti, they came to the banks of Saraswati, where Kadma Muni's ashram was there. They came and met Kadma Muni, and Kadma Muni, after receiving the king of the whole world, offered his prayers and spoke the words of glorification to the king. And like that, the previous chapter ended. Now this chapter begins with where Kadma Muni concluded the previous discussion. The Guru can dissolve all your mistakes, come and protect the body like this. So like this example is given. And Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur writes, why is Swayambhuva Manu speaking like this? He just wanted to ensure that the ascetic, the great renunciate Kadma Muni would not say no to the offer that he is about to propose. And what was that offer? Swayambhuva Manu wanted to give his daughter Devhuti in charity, which is called as Kanyadan, in marriage to Kadma Muni. Swayambhuva Manu was a little, like it should not happen that Kadma Muni would reject. So therefore he said about the responsibility and interdependent nature between Brahmanas and Kshatriya. Like after talking about this, then there is a very good, very interesting discussion about, again in the previous chapter also there was a discussion about marriage institution, and this chapter also there's a discussion about, first is the responsibility of a householder. How should householder live a life, or what should be an ideal life? How a man gets trained up in a brahmachari life, and then he can remain an ashtika brahmachari, where he thinks he doesn't want to get married and stay focused on the goal of his life. And some may decide to get married and they become upakurvana brahmachari, where they get married and yet they continue to practice the principles of spiritual life, and that's what we call as grihastha ashram. How a husband and wife should have relationship, what should be the quality of a wife, before a husband identifies the right spouse. Look, those kind of discussion, wonderful discussions there in the chapter. So now it comes to practicalities in terms of how to live your life in this world. So that would be one part of the discussion. And then finally, Kadam Muni accepts Devhuti, and after giving Devhuti in marriage to Kadam Muni, Swayambhuva Manu and Satrupa goes back. But before they go back, Satrupa gives a lot of wealth in charity along with giving Devhuti. Then the subject matter of dowry comes. Dowry, just like so many things over a period of time in Kali Yuga became, in a wrong connotation. Similarly was dowry. So the subject matter of dowry has been discussed. How in the previous times, when the parents will give their daughter in marriage, they will also give wealth. But it was never asked of. It was given according to the position of the parents. And how to approach for marriage. So this chapter prepares you for grihastha ashram, and later on chapters will prepare you for brahmachari ashram. It introduces you, how to get married, how to approach that whole subject matter. The cultural aspect is very beautifully presented by Srila Prabhupada here. Like that, and finally Swayambhuva Manu and Shatrupa goes back to their kingdom, and then the glories of their kingdom called as Brahasmati has been described. How fantastic. And Swayambhuva Manu is a great devotee of the Lord, pure devotee of the Lord, so that his life and his kingdom has been described. Like this, the discussion would end, where the chapter ends with the glorification of Swayambhuva Manu and Satrupa. So there, Maitreya Muni said, well, I have spoken about the glories of the father. Now let me speak of the glories of the daughter. That would be Devhuti. So next chapter will talk about the life and the austerities Devhuti would perform. So many interesting things are there, and I was just quickly skimming through this chapter. There's so much to discuss, so much to reflect. One thing that you will see, just coming to my mind, so I'm just sharing right now. We'll take a look at the purpose also. Swayambhuva Manu was extremely rich. He was the king of the whole world. Kadam Muni was like a beggar. There is no social convention here. As we see today, the marriage should happen in the same class, but that's what not you see here. Kadam Muni had nothing with him. He was an renunciate. So Prabhupada talks about it. What was the understanding of marriages in those days? What were the conventions? Like that, that's the subject matter. Let's take a look at it. Okay. Duplicate. So screens will be visible. So Prabhu, this is just my last 15 minutes of quick reading and perusal. There's a lot to discuss, but we'll keep it to what all we can discuss here. Let's begin with the first verse. Maitreya vacha evam avishkrita shesha guna karmadayo munim savridaiva tam samra uparatam uvachaha. Hare Krishna. The sound is breaking. Is all okay now, Abhishek? Network issues, fine. All right. So Sri Maitreya said, after describing the greatness of the emperor's manifold qualities, which means the previous chapter, Kadam Muni glorified Swayambhuva Manu. Now the sage became silent, and the king, feeling modesty, addressed him as follows. Text number 2. Manurvacha Brahma srajatsva mukhato Yusman atma paripsaya Chandomayastapo vidya Yoga yuktana lampata. So from this verse onwards, for the next 4-5 verses, Swayambhuva Manu not externally, but subtly through his conversation, wants to convince Kadma Muni of getting married. Why? Because in the past, Narad Muni approached Swayambhu Manu and he met Devahuti. Knowing the plan of the Lord, knowing what has all happened between Swayambhu the Lord and Kadma Muni, etc., everything details was known to Narad Muni. Narad Muni spoke to Devahuti about the character and qualities of Kadma Muni. And just after hearing the qualities and the character of Kadma Muni, Devahuti focused her mind on Kadma Muni. And knowing the will of the Lord, knowing what Narad Muni wants, what Lord wants, even what Kadma Muni wants, so therefore Swayambhu Manu came from his kingdom far off to meet Kadma Muni. But being present here, he was just to make sure. Can you imagine I don't know if you can understand this, but you have a daughter to marry and you come to a place, you want to give your daughter to marry to somebody who looks like completely emaciated because of his austerities, has no belongingness over there, no belonging with him. Wouldn't you become a little doubtful? He doesn't look like prepared to get married. How do I give my daughter in marriage to him? What if I propose, he says no? With that background, here Swayambhuva Manu will speak verses talking about the duties of Brahmanas and Kshatriya towards each other. Alright, with that as a little background, let's quickly read the translation. Manu said, to expand himself in Vedic knowledge, Brahma created Brahmanas who are full of austerities, knowledge and mystic power and averse to sense gratification. And about Kshatriyas, he said, for the protection of the Brahmanas, the thousand-legged Supreme Being created us, the Kshatriyas. Text number 4, that is why the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas protect each other as well as themselves. The Lord himself is both the cause and effect, yet immutable, protects them through each other, like this. And a fantastic purport about the Varnashrama system, about interdependence. I'll read out some points. The entire social structure of Varna and Ashram is a cooperative system meant to uplift all to the highest platform of spiritual realization. The essence of this Varnashram Dharma is, or the subject matter which Prabhupada is describing here, the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are the leaders of the society in their own respect. Brahmanas are the one who have got that brain, to advise because they have cultivated spiritual knowledge. Kshatriyas are the one who have got the might. If the brain and might come together, then everyone else in the society would flourish. And who is everyone else? Vaishyas and Shudra. So Brahmanas and Kshatriya, if they cooperate nicely with each other, then everyone else in the society would flourish. And this is how the Varnashrama system was, is defined, or how it will function like this. Nonetheless, Brahmanas may consider themselves to be the protector of Kshatriyas and the rest of the society, and Kshatriyas may consider themselves to be the protector of Brahmanas and the rest of the society. But at the end of it, it is the Lord who is the protector. That's what Swayambhuva Manu says. So here, Prabhupada writes, the blue one, he creates Brahmanas for the protection of Kshatriyas and Kshatriyas for the protection of the Brahmanas. Yet the Lord remains aloof from all activities. He is called Nirvikar, without activity. He has nothing to do. He is so great that he does not perform action personally, but he engages, but his energies act. The Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and anything that we see are different energies acting upon one another. So this is called as the concept of delegated authority, where you empower your subjects and help them function. So if you see, you might have heard from me many times, and now through this purpose you will see, I often say, we all have to learn to take our own responsibility. We cannot be spoon-fed, we cannot be pampered for long. In the beginning is okay, a little bit, just to bring that living entity out of ignorance. But after being around, we need to take our responsibility, we need to rise up to the occasion and become serious and sincere. And look here also, the Lord does not interfere. Lord has created what we call as Varnashrama system. Varna and Ashrama. And then there are Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. Lord has given Vedic knowledge to Brahmanas, where they learn it, and there is a system of Parampara. He started the system of Parampara, and that's handed over to Brahmanas. Brahmanas, the same Brahmanas will teach Kshatriyas, how to fight, how to do diplomacy, everything. And those Kshatriyas, when they grow up, they protect the Brahmanas in return from the exploitation of the rest of the society. And when Brahmanas and Kshatriyas work well, then Vaishyas and Shudras are taken care. Now in one way, the whole system has become stable. In that context, that the Lord has nothing to do. Imagine if for anything and everything, if they have to depend on the Lord. So this is not how it functions, delegated authority. But while doing so, they know very well, ultimately, who is our protector? The Lord. Who created the system? Now let me ask this question to all of you. Somebody may say, Are, I am the king. I went to I went to the Gurukul. I took the training. Then I fought the war. I protected. Who is the protector? The king or the Lord? What do you think? The Brahmana says, I studied scriptures for so long, so much austerities I performed, and because of my good counsel, the king is able to make right decisions. So I am the protector. Where is God in picture? What do you think? How God is in picture now? How is God in picture now? Yes, Ritesh Prabhu.
Prabhuji, means in Bhagavad Gita, Lord mentioned that maybe Smriti or Vismriti ati ho mujhse aati hai.
अच्छा, तो रितेश जी कह रहे हैं सर्वस्व चाम यदि सन्निविष्टो मता स्मृति ज्ञानम अपनुचा, सब कुछ भगवान से आता है, पर करने वाला तो मैं हूँ। भगवान का क्या योगदान है उसमें? मैंने परिश्रम करा, मैंने युद्ध लड़ा। ब्राह्मण बोलेगा मैंने परिश्रम करा, मैंने एग्जाम पास किया, पेपर तो उसने लिखा। What is the contribution of the Lord here? It's a very important subject matter. This is something we also struggle. We think, what our authority have done? What who has done? I am the one who wanted to become devotee. I am the one who read Bhagavad Gita. I am the one who put a hand in my bead bag and chanted Hare Krishna. I am chanting. I am getting up in the morning. Who has done what? I am the one. Because I wanted, I had a desire. How many of you would little bit relate to it? That I is very strong. I did this. I came to the program. Nobody came to pick me up from home. I sat in the auto, paid to the auto wala. I came to the program. And after that, they don't talk about that you were fed, you were taught. So how does it happen? So here it is mentioned, although Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, they are doing everything, but who created the facility? Who created the system? Who did that? Is the Lord. Similarly for all of us, despite of whoever we are, whatever inclination we would have had in the past, but if Srila Prabhupada would not have created this institution, and Srila Prabhupada disciples would not have extended and dedicated their lives to ensure what Prabhupada gave remains protected, and if they would not have worked hard, and then their disciples, their students would not have gone out in different parts and cities and towns and villages, do you think anything would have happened to us? That is how the system functions. So this is how ahamamiti. Somewhere, somehow we are always caught, I have done this, I have done this. But where it is? So although they will perform their duties, but they know it is all done by the Lord. Similarly, this we are talking Brahmana leader and Kshatriya leader. For ordinary men, then they will look forward to their Brahmana leader and Kshatriya leader like that. Alright, moving forward, that's subject matter. 5th verse. So now I have resolved all my doubts simply by meeting you, for your Lordship has very kindly and clearly explained the duty of a king who desired to protect his subjects. So from here comes a very beautiful discussion. So now here Swayambhuva Manu is actually glorifying the great devotee and a great Brahmana by the name of Kardama Muni. And he's saying that just by having your darshan, just by hearing from you, all my doubts have been cleared. And Prabhupada begins to focus his purpose about how a living entity, when he meets with a sadhu, how his life transforms. And Prabhupada says in the purport, Manu described here with the result of seeing a great saintly person. And Prabhupada says, once we had the opportunity to meet Vishnupa Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, and on first sight he requested this humble soul to preach this message in the Western countries. There was no preparation for this, but somehow he desired it. Who desired it? So whose desire we fulfilled, Srila Prabhupada fulfilled, was Bhakti Siddhanta. So when there was an instruction, comes empowerment. Now it does Srila Prabhupada is saying, ultimately kara to maine hi na. I took the effort to go to America. So who gets the credit? Did anywhere ever Prabhupada said like that? Who gave him the direction to do that? Srila Bhakti Siddhanta. It was not Prabhupada who was thinking about it. Now even Prabhupada, who from his childhood was a pure devotee of the Lord, he is not saying, it was I who was searching for a guru. I had all the interest, I had all the longing, and then I met him, and then how I took it. So it is, that sense of I-ness which comes, you will not find anywhere in Prabhupada's thing. He would always say, it was just because of the mercy of Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur that I understood what's the purpose of life. That's very interesting way Prabhupada will mention. Again, some way to see how Mamiti can be diluted. On the first side, he requested, there was no preparation, but somehow or other he desired it. By his grace, we are now engaged in executing his order, which has given us transcendental occupation and has saved and liberated us from the occupation of material activities. Srila Prabhupada was a working professional like all of you, and during his working life he met. So we have a good example of corporate preaching. Our current parampara started from corporate preaching only. Srila Prabhupada ji was preached when he was a corporate. I mean, he was a businessman, right? He was working in an agency which was manufacturing medicines. And Prabhupada ji was a reseller, I believe, for that, or maybe a manager. And that's how Prabhupada ji met his spiritual master. And then, being a grihastha, he engaged himself. Hey, that's a good case study for corporate preaching. I was just thinking I had to give a seminar on corporate preaching in one forum. So this is a good example. Prabhupada ji got connected during his working life. Anyways, thus it is actually a fact that if one meets a saintly person completely engaged in spiritual activities and achieves his favor, then one's life mission becomes complete. What is not possible to achieve in 1,000 lives can be achieved in one moment if there is an opportunity to meet a saintly person. It is therefore enjoined in Vedic literature that one should always try to associate with a saintly person and try to disassociate oneself from the common men, because by one word of a saintly person, one can be liberated from material entanglement. Any thoughts and reflections? What does it mean? One should always try to associate. What is not possible to achieve in 1,000 lives can be achieved in one moment if there is an opportunity to meet a saintly person. Would anyone like to give a purport? Reflections, please. What does it mean? Yes, Prabhu.
It is just like sadhu sangha, lavamata sadhu. Just by one moment, if we associate.
But what happens in that one moment? That your life changes. That's the point.
We get Bhakti Lata Beach.
Okay, so we are speaking on that technical aspect. We get Bhakti Lata Beach. We get Bhakti Lata Beach. But what does it mean we get? What happened exactly? What does the sadhu do to you? What is it Bhakti Lata Beach looks like? Does it have any form and shape? What does it mean?
The connection between the super soul.
Connection. Well, that is established when you take to the process. Not by just a sadhu telling you. That is through bhajana kriya. Then it is when you follow that. Yes.
When we see sadhu, then first of all there is that faith.
Okay, that's all technical things. Fine. Ado Shraddha Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya. That's fine. What does sadhu do to you? What happens?
It shakes
Misconceptions. It shakes our misconceptions.
Being a sadhu also is happening.
I'll tell you, if you focus something in relation to what happened between Abhay Charan Dey and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That if you look at it, you'll get an idea what happens. Yes.
Sadhu will give some order to us, and when he gives.
Sadhu gives us some order. Okay.
Once he gives order, he वो कुछ इच्छा करेंगे, जब वो इच्छा करते हैं भगवान.
Very nice, very nice. So what happens is, just like Abhay Charan Dey, our Srila Prabhupada ji, when he met with Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, hey, there's an internet issue, huh? Okay. I hope you are paying the bill. Or maybe we need to increase the bandwidth. Fine. What was I saying? So what exactly happens if you look back into the association of Abhichanande and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Now, what was happening at that point of time with Abhichanande was, he was, following Gandhi movements, freedom fighter. He was associated with that. And please understand, he had come from the background where he had served until that time Shri Radha Krishna, Radha Govind Dev, right? He had been a devotee, he had his own set of deities, but at this point of time in his life, he was thinking of doing something for the associating with Gandhi's movement and trying to become a freedom fighter. But just by meeting with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his desires changed. And how his desires changed? Because in that first meeting, he was given his life's mission statement. What was life's mission statement? Preach the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in English language. So the question is, can't this be done by Abhichanande? Ultimately, who fulfilled that? Abhichanande himself, who later on became, his divine A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. But who showed the direction? Who gave the direction? So if you see, that is what Guru does. He gives you the direction to your life. Otherwise, we are directionless. Can you consider, or can anyone consider ourselves to be a far greater devotee than Abhichanande at that point of time? Even his life was directionless if you look at that point of time. Why? Because Srila Prabhupada himself mentioned he was following Gandhi's movement. And that's the reason in the very first conversation, what did Srila Prabhupada said? Well, unless we attained freedom, who would hear to us? Yes? And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur replied, well, all these political gimmicks will continue. This Krishna consciousness or the movement started by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so important and so urgent, it cannot wait for the change of the political party. It has to happen. So what does Guru does? There is a very clear system in everything. Everything is very clear and defined. No ambiguity about it. He gives you direction to your life. And now you begin thinking about in your life. Have you in your life received a direction of what you should be doing? Or your life had been directionless? Just like what direction when Lord Shri Krishna creates the Varnashrama, right? Lord created Chaturvarnaya Maya Shashnam Gunakrama Vibhakasha. Now through this system, what direction is given to all the Varna and Ashrama residents? What direction is given? The goal is self-realization. Yes or no? The direction is clearly defined. So either as a Brahmana, what you function, the goal is self-realization. Kshatriya, whatever you do, the goal is self-realization. Who gives the direction? The Supreme Lord. Who works for it? The Brahmana and the Kshatriya. Just like Srila Prabhupada ji told to His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, built Mayapur, I give you and enjoy. Who gave the vision? Who gave the direction? Srila Prabhupada. Of course, he supported, he assisted, but who has built it all this while? Now, does His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj say, I worked for it, this is my credit? But where does the credit go? Who gave the direct? That's how the Vedic concept works. That's how Vedic understanding. Prabhu, ye tum kya kar rahe ho? So can we go back to Zoom directly? Or you have to do the live experiment as usual? No, if it is not working, we can switch to, so that those who are attending online, they have something. Why are we continuing with this thing? Is the online devotee able to understand and hear it properly? And you didn't go to online? YouTube? Okay, so screen is flickering only.
But there is a lot of lag once.
So can we shift to Zoom? Is it a big thing? Can we shift to Zoom is my question. Yes or no? So आपको YouTube stream बंद करनी पड़ेगी? Oh, ठीक है, then leave it. Fine. All right, so we can't change it right now. Okay, so that was the thing. Anyone wants to add something? Is it making sense? So of course there is a training given, there is a culture given, everything, but direction, the role of a leader is to give us direction. The role of a leader is to help you identify our vision and mission statement. So it was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur who gave the vision. For example, let's say I came to Injewadi, maybe I as a ground worker, I would have struggled and worked. But actually, who gave the vision for it? It was the leadership who gave the vision that there should be a temple, that there should be a community. So I can't take the credit for it because I did some groundwork. The credit for me should be given by them if they feel like. But to whom, for according to me, why it has happened, how it has happened, Nimitta Matan Bhavasya Visajna, Krishna said, I desire it, anyway it's going to happen. It is up to you to take part in it. So that's how the Vedic concept, that's how it functions. So I hope you're getting this thought process here. So moving forward, it is my good fortune that I've been able to see you, for you cannot easily be seen by persons who have not subdued the mind or controlled the senses. I am all the more fortunate to have touched with my head the blessed dust of your feet. And here now Prabhupada speaks about the glories of the holy dust of the Vaishnava. Please read this purpose. Each purpose requires some dedicated time. I'm just giving you some brief. So Prabhupada here quotes two personalities. One, he quotes a conversation between Jada Bharat and Raja Rahugana. It's a very beautiful purport which Prabhupada have given a translation here. I'll just bring it for your reference and we'll read it. You're able to see? Let's read it. Rahugana tapasanayati. Oh, wait. My screen sharing is not happening. Sorry. I disabled screen sharing before. Yeah. Rahugana tapasanayati. Nache jaya nirvipanad grahadva. Na chandasana eva jalagni surya. Vina mahatpadurajo bhishekam. O King Rahuguna, the perfection stage of devotional service or the Paramahansa stage of life cannot be attained unless one is blessed by the dust of the feet of great devotees. It is never attained by tapasya, the Vedic worshipping process, acceptance of the renounced order of life, the discharge of the duties of household life, the chanting of the Vedic hymns, or the performance of penance in the heart and within cold water or before the blazing fire. Anyone would like to explain what does it mean? What does it mean? If you want to look at the word-to-word meaning, it's not coming here, fine. So this is being spoken by Jada Bharat to King Rahugana. And it says, tapasa, yagya, any Vedic process, even nirpanad, even which means sannyas, which means not engage in any activity. Even if you accept renounced order, or you perform all the principles of grahastha ashram, Chandasa means chanting of Vedic hymns, and Jalagni, which means fire sacrifice, Surya, performing penances under the sun. It's the perfection stage of devotional service cannot be attained. What does it mean?
One cannot get the Krishna prem either from others.
Thank you for rephrasing it. What does it mean? Yes, Prajapur. It is not I. It is not I who does it. Only I has to be how to attract the mercy. Therefore, it is a case of mercy. That's a Vedic concept. To give a credit to think I have done it, I am the doer, it just doesn't happen. All your tapasyas, all your austerities have no value unless you have attained a mercy. That's a point being mentioned here. All right. Oops. Let's going back to the verse again. How do I go back to the verse again? From here. Yes. And then Prabhupada goes Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, 8 stanzas. That also focuses on that. Here the word akratatmanam is very significant. Anyways, you can read it out like this. Let's go to the next verse. I have fortunately been instructed by you, and thus great favor has been bestowed upon me. I thank God that I have listened with open ears to your pure words. Very beautiful point. The favor of the spiritual master is not received through any other part of the body but the ears. During my course of my practice of devotional life, I've seen many misconceptions come. So we carry a lot of misconception. How should our spiritual master should be serving us or helping us? The mercy or the favor of the spiritual master is not received through any other part of the body but What does it mean? Huh? No, it means to have an idea, the spiritual master should provide and protect for my body. Spiritual master should pamper my body. That is not the idea. If in case he doesn't ask me, are you okay? Oh, he doesn't care for me. You see that people become very emotional about it. He never looks at me, he never asks me, I was sick, he never came to me and checked, I have taken paracetamol or not. He doesn't care for me. You getting it right? He does it, is fantastic. But what is the favor that comes through? It comes through ears. And look at Srila Prabhupada's life. How many times did he meet Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur? So please understand how much we are receiving in context of how Vedic culture defines what is right action, what is wrong action. We have a system where we have seniors who come and ask for you. There is a system, if you fall sick, somebody takes care for you. There is a system defined for it. Despite having all this system, if you still feel dissatisfied, what can be done? So it's a point here. This does not mean how the spiritual master gives a particular type of mantra through the years in exchange for some dollars. If the man meditates on that, he achieves perfection and becomes God within 6 months. Yes, for example, Srila Prabhupada, he cared the quality of prasadam should be up to the mark. Even while in his final days, he will ask what devotees are eating. But what is the highest favor? Is through the ears. What he speaks, that should be. So as a disciple, we should aim for that. If we get that, that is the best thing. The real fact is that a bona fide spiritual master knows the nature of a particular man and what sort of duties he can perform in Krishna consciousness. So there are two duties being described of a guru here. One, he instructs through his Vani, and second, he engages. How he engages? Knowing your psychophysical nature, he would engage somebody in deity worship, somebody in outreach, somebody in kitchen service, somebody for cleaning service. That is how, so that a devotee, eventually understands the psychophysical nature and is happily engaged. That's the second point which is mentioned here. These purports are very profound, required some in-depth study. I'm giving some clues here. Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita makes it clear that one can attain the highest perfection of spiritual life simply by offering service according to his ability. Arjuna did not have to perform deity worship to go back to Godhead. For Arjuna, he served Krishna by his ability in the military art. Arjuna offered his service fully as a military man and he became perfect. Similarly, an artist can attain perfection simply by performing artistic work under the direction of spiritual master. If one is a literary man, he can write articles and poetry for the service of the Lord under the direction of spiritual master. One has to receive the message of spiritual master regarding how to act, no capacity for the spiritual master in giving such instructions. Last point, faithful execution of the instruction by the disciples makes the entire process perfect. What is the job profile of Guru? To instruct and engage. What is the job profile of a disciple? To execute. He doesn't have to think about it, what I should be doing. And that relationship can manifest in many ways. Either Guru may have a nature where he can directly instruct you to do. Guru may ask you, okay, what are your skills and strengths and abilities? What would you like to do? And he may train you gradually. Because as particularly all of you, you are grown-up people, at this point of time to tell you do this can really go against your established set psychophysical nature right now. Because, maybe what the Guru is saying or what the leader is saying may be correct, but you may not be able to adjust. It may happen. So this particular model was followed in where the child is malleable, and then he can do everything. The best model that can work now with the grown-ups is, you ask them what are their skills and strengths, and then engage them, and then ask them, and in fact ask them to define what result they want to produce, and then provide all the facility. At least make them committed to what they can produce as a result. And once they have got a little practice, a little trained up in that regard, because everyone needs some sense of accomplishment that I could also contribute. And once we have kind of got that sense of, I can also contribute, I'm worthy of something. It's a very basic human need to feel worthy of something. When we have felt that sense of basic, that I can do something, then you can engage in other greater services. Then you can tell him, okay, Prabhu, go and start a center. do this, do that. But prior to that, certain amount of service contribution has to be produced. Certain amount of that confidence that I can do something has to be there. So these are some of the ways devotees can be engaged, and that's what Prabhupada is kind of talking about. The faithful execution of the instruction which he receives from the spiritual master is the only duty of a disciple, and that will bring him perfection. One should be very careful to receive the message from the spiritual master through the years and execute it faithfully. That will make one's life successful. So this is a little important subject. I spent time about guru and disciple relationship. So now he concludes here, O sage, graciously be pleased to listen to the prayer of my humble self. And now he says, my mind is troubled by my affection for my daughter, and my daughter, and he introduces his daughter as a sister of Priyavrat and Uttanapad. She is looking for a suitable husband. The moment she heard from the sage Narada of your noble character, your learning, your beautiful appearance, youth and other virtues, she fixed her mind upon you, like this. So when she heard about the Lord Kadamuni from Narad Muni, Prabhupada writes, very important points. Hearing from an authority is a better experience than gaining personal understanding. So in today's day and time, the upcoming couples, they spend a lot of time knowing each other. The long talks, conversation happens. Papa is saying, well, hearing from somebody who knows them better is a far better way of gaining understanding of each other. She heard from Narad Muni that Kadamuni was just fit to be a husband, and therefore she became fixed in her heart that she would marry him. See, we can cheat anyone and everyone. We cannot cheat, I would say, two people. Well, let me ask, who are the two persons who you cannot cheat? You can lie to everyone, but you cannot make a fool of two people. Super soul and super soul and soul. Okay. You cannot cheat at least two. Who are those? Huh?
And Guru.
Mother and Guru. Yes, your parents and your teachers. You can cheat everyone, but you cannot cheat them. If if they have any amount of affection for you, the Krishna empowers them. Paramatma empowers them with an ability. They will look at you and they'll understand you. And I'll tell you, therefore, a disciple, or therefore, you have to take the relationship. You might have had that experience. You can't hide, you can't cheat, you can't lie. That doesn't go on for a long time. Therefore, it is mentioned hearing from an authority, which means an authority knows about you very well, what kind of person you are. Imagine now you have to speak to somebody. You can present yourself as whatever you are. You can deceive the person in whatever way you want. But if an authority speaks, then it is bona fide, like that is mentioned. 11th verse, therefore please accept her, O chief of the Brahmanas. She is fit to be your wife and will take charge of your household duties. So here Swayambhuva Manu concludes presenting his wish and desire for which he has come to meet Kadama Muni. And now Prabhupada's purpose will talk about the responsibility of wife towards the husband and responsibility of a husband towards the wife. Everything very clearly defined. There is no ambiguity about who is supposed to do what. What a son supposed to do towards in relationship with his parents, what a parent supposed to do towards his son, that is also mentioned in the purport here. No, kind of, कि मैं कुछ और कर सकता हूँ, no, everything is mentioned. I've just highlighted one point. You can read the rest of the purport later on. It is a duty of the wife to take charge of the household affairs and not to compete with the husband. What does it mean not to compete with the husband? Where does the competition arises?
Job.
When you both are into the same profession. So that's how it had been. And Prabhupada, I don't know, in those days when Prabhupada was writing, the ladies were working then or what? A wife is meant to help, but she cannot help her husband unless he is completely equal to her in age, character and quality. Okay, so now fine, there are some basic things I mentioned. I'll just skip some of the verses here. about, he's trying to convince Kadamuni, you should accept my daughter in marriage like this. Swayambhuvana continued, O wise man, I heard that you were prepared to marry, please accept her hand, like this. And you have not decided for a perpetual celibacy, which means you already had desire to get married, which means you have a wish for it, and I have brought my daughter who's absolutely qualified for you. She matches you in your ability, qualities like this. That's the point. So here Prabhupada mentions about two kinds of brahmacharis, Naishtika and Upakurvana brahmachari, like this. And then now Kadamuni begins to speak. What did he said? Rishirvacha Badham Udbodh Kamoham Aprattacha Tavatmaja Avayo Anurupaswa Adyo Vahivahiko Vidhi. Kadamuni replied, certainly I have a desire to marry, and your daughter have not yet married or given her word to anyone. Therefore, our marriage according to the Vedic system can take place. Vedic system was pretty strict, huh? Just like, remember the case of Amba? She had had a relationship. She had already in her heart thought of getting married to somebody else, and she already had affectionate relationship with the king. And she told Bhishma, although you have won her in that ceremony, and you brought her to Hastinapur, but I have given my heart to somebody else. And Bhishma said, immediately you're free to go. It's a great subject matter here. I don't know if I should speak all this in public assembly, but maybe I can share something. A little about female psychology. Okay, if in case anyone disagree with that, you have the right to disagree. So what I was saying, okay, let me come to the paper, then I'll say, let me share the screen, then we'll make a point. Okay, so we were here, certainly have a desire to marry, fine. Yeah, okay, Prabhupada have already written, let's take it. So sage replies, certainly I have a desire to marry, and your daughter has not yet married or given a word to anyone. Therefore, our marriage according to the Vedic system can take place. So Prabhupada writes, that is a great consideration. What is a great consideration? Not yet married and given her word to anyone. That is a great consideration. What means? Because female psychology dictates that when a woman offers her heart to a man for the first time, it is very difficult for her to take it back. Point. That's it. It is very difficult for her to take it back. अरे भागवतम में दिया है, काय फोटो खींच रहा है? फोटो तो ऐसे खींच रहा है, मैंने पीपीटी में नहीं डाला है, प्रभुपाद के शब्द हैं, कभी भगवान के द्वारा अपनी दी हुई भागवतम खोल के देख लेना, उसमें लिखा हुआ है. ठीक है, अब आप लोग इसमें अपना करते रहिए. We can have a brahmachari class someday, we'll discuss more on it. All right. Let your daughter's desire for marriage, which is recognized in the Vedic scriptures, be fulfilled. Who would not accept her hand? She is so beautiful that by her body lust alone she excels the beauty of her ornaments. So like this, some selected points in the purport. These are very beautiful purports. To give a daughter in charity to a suitable son-in-law is considered to be one of the pious activities of a householder. Kanya Dan is very important. Dan is considered. The 8 forms of marriages mentioned in the